Good morning, everybody. Shalom. It's Sunday, first day of the week. Oh, I get distracted. I want to share something with you. Yeah, make this quick. I got somewhere to be. You and your hypocrisy. So, two things I want to share. Well, I'm not gonna share the first one. Yeah, I will. Um, I will say I haven't watched TV for a long time. I've even stopped watching movies because you can't go to theaters now. But I spend a lot of time that would be TV watching time as in class YouTube research time. YouTube, the internet, uh, I would even say Instagram, but watching footage of things that I'm trying to learn. That's not the end all of learning, but sometimes just even seeing a picture will help you understand something. For me, at least, I'm visual. Like if I see it, I could probably, do it. But then you gotta look up some of the. It's nice to do the reading. You gotta do the reading too. Don't just watch YouTube videos. But instead of the time that would be spent, my leisure time is usually watching um, educational, informational videos. Well, normally that time will be spent watching television for most people, or whatever you do for leisure. But here's the thing: that's the number one thing. Number two thing is um, you can watch videos and go to school and stuff, but some people, well, me at least, I learn by doing. It's nice to watch, but when you actually do it, and also what I'm trying to iterate today is you learn by messing up too, or failures. Because this right here, what you're looking at, is my first expression of a log pile. The first, this is like the second expression. The first expression, what you can't see under here is that the logs that I'm preserving are sitting on the logs that I'm sacrificing. So I've set some logs down on the ground because if you put something on the ground, if it's alive, the ground's gonna claim it. The bacteria, not the bacteria, the fungus, the mold, the ants, the termites, the bugs, they're gonna, especially if it's got moisture in it, they're gonna claim it. They're gonna claim it quick. Like for example, this log, this fungus, I didn't inoculate this. This just came from being on the ground, and this was, I think, was on the ground already. The problem is with even sitting a log on the ground, and then sitting a log on top of it, I found out that the stuff still can transfer. The mold and fungus still transfer. It not as much, but it still can transfer. So this is my first one was just setting them on the ground. Well, they'll rot real fast like that within a year instead of drying. The second iteration was setting them on logs, and that kind of works better. And this is the first generation of that. This is not a very organized pile. This is kind of like part of this tree I'm cutting down. It's kind of laying it there. They're not organized yet, but I'm getting them out the way and keeping them off the ground so they can still be somewhat usable logs or sticks or whatever you want to call them. Also drying for firewood and such. That's what this kind of was going to be. These are stumps. I set them up there. I didn't debark them, just let them set. But as you can see, they're still getting claimed by some mildew and fungus. It's not overtaking them. And yeah, so this is the second. The first one was total failure. This is the second iteration. of me trying to create usable logs. You see, I stripped the bark off of this one. The first time I started tripping bark, I stripped bark from laying a log half on the tree and half on the ground, and that was real awkward, and I was at a bad angle. Let's say I would lay a log over here and lay it on the ground, and I would strip. When I get to the bottom, it'd be kind of hard to do, and it was hard to maneuver. So that was the first iteration. That's what this is. This over here is my log piles from all the trees I've cut down, or all the trees I cut down or that was down that I gathered and cleaned up. They're not very organized, but most of them are off the ground. There's maybe a bottom part that's getting attacked by the ground, but the top part is saved, for the better part of 6 months to a year. They saved some of this stuff I can use for either firewood or make into usable pieces of little timber or whatever you want to do with it, right? This is my second generation. That's my third generation, these logs are just cut a week ago. And as you can see, this is a way better setup. And I'm not gonna lie, this I learned from literally watching videos. They weren't instructional videos on how to manipulate timber. There was usually videos on milling, saw milling. And I kept getting the idea, playing with it. And this is like a side, something I learned from just watching videos, looking at pictures, and knowing I got to get them off the ground, but I wasn't sure how without building like a real structure. So this is something I found from my video learning, and it's just cinder blocks with some 4x4s across it, and these act as they call them log dogs, or these are the stoppers. So them just 2x4s. That is literally the stuff for me. I'm taking apart this deck. I'm taking apart this deck because I'm taking this stuff down, this extra stuff they built in this house. But that's what this is. And this is way better. But I'm not saying you could go straight to this if you know. But even if you don't know, what I'm saying is don't be afraid to try and do it. And you might do it wrong, but even if you do it wrong and you have a failure, don't be like, oh, I suck. Oh, this sucks, and I'm failure, and then go home. No, don't do that. No, it sucked and it was a failure, but them are the best lessons you learn. Like I learned an invaluable lesson on how important doing something like this is, because I did go back to this. I mean, let me be honest. I got my morning workout this morning, moving them from that trailer and setting them logs up there. Like that was my exercise for the day. These logs are heavy, you know what I'm saying? And I spent a lot of time over here, and I thought the best thing of this. I thought this was the best thing ever. I was proud of my log pile. But it's a miserable, messy pile of, I would say 50% of this is usable. And it's a waste. It's not a total waste. What I learned, what the thing is, I learned the lesson that I won't forget. Like when you have a failure, you won't forget. I'm not telling you to go fail. If you can do it better the first time, that's great. But if you don't know how to do it, don't be afraid to try and do it. Because after you've messed it up, you learn something, number one. Number two, what you also learn after you have that, you can learn to appreciate that. I really appreciate that. And even though this was hard work, this was much easier than working with that mess. And now, not only do I have a pile here where they can start drying, they're gonna start drying out here. They're nice and separated. I can stack up. I'm pretty sure I can stack up the logs, you know, 3, 4 logs high, and it won't go nowhere. And I got right now, I got a little storage space, and then I got here. I peeled the bark off of this. That was part of my little exercise too, cardio. No, I'm just kidding. I got a little workspace. It's not a workbench, but I can put the log on there and move it around and work on it. When I'm done, I can put it back in the pile. I can move them around. So I got workspace and I got a little storage space for now. Now what I thought about after working, and I got this from watching, I'm not gonna lie, videos. I'm gonna do a what they real call a log dog. I'm taking put a hole in here and put a bolt through here and attach like a little tooth that I can lock the log in place when I'm working on it, peeling it, or something so it don't roll down, because it rolls around a little bit. And I even, from chipping it, I've even pulled it off the block and hit the ground. So well, you need steel toe shoes, not these. So I'm gonna make something that'll lock the log in place while I'm chipping it, and you know, I could even use this to kind of mill the logs, really, if I did, etc. With the chainsaw at least. And that's my next step eventually. I don't know if I'm gonna do it here, but if I was to set up a mill, I probably would do it right here, because it's actually already an existing slab of concrete right here. It's a walkway from that thing that's coming down where the garbage can is all the way up to here. And it's about 15 feet of concrete slab, and that's enough to mill out anything I would mill. I don't know if I'd want it right here, but this would be the spot if I was to do it right now. This would be the best spot. There's a slab already there. But that's my 3rd generation log storage. The first generation not in existence no more, because it was a total failure and the logs are rotted away. When logs start rotting, they're not even good for firewood. So you get fungus in them. They don't even burn real good because they hold the moisture. So it's better to strip them, let them dry. Once they dry out, a lot of stuff's not interested in them. It takes about, I think, 6 months to dry, depending on the weather, where you got them at. But out here, it'd be 6 months in the open, up to a year. But this is the 2nd generation. So all that to say, don't be afraid to do something, even if you don't know what you're doing. Give it a try. And you may learn something from doing it, and go watch some videos, read some information, get you some PDFs, buy some ebooks. Ebooks are cheap. You can read them and store them on your device. It's better. It's nice to have paper books, but paper books can get destroyed by mold or rot, burn. The best book is if you learn something and you store it in your mind, and it goes to what they call the spiritual realm, or they call them the Akashi records. Yeah. The real information is never lost, to be honest with you, because it's somewhere that you can't destroy. The records in the blood, the water, and the Holy Spirit. That's what that Akashi records they always talking about. That's what that is. It's a spiritual record, there's a blood record, and there's a water record. And then there's just things that's a reality. The truth is reality. If you deal with the reality, then, your technology lasts. It lasts, everlasts. That's just real. And I'm going to stop right there, because I started trying to preach. I'm not finna preach today. I'm just try something, do something, spend your time learning something, and try it out. So first generation's gone, second generation still here, and I'm gonna use some of this wood. Trust me, I worked too hard with it, and that was harder work, even harder work. And third generation, right there. Remember the first log I stripped? I did it right up against that tree. Was the first one, and even this right here. This is second generation of these this beds. This is second generation. It's some amaranth seeded is growing over here. All this green you see. That's the amaranth. So what is it? The amaranth. Not this green stuff. This red stuff. That one. This one. It's the amaranth and some of the other stuff I had over here. Dropped them seeds. This the amaranth. I believe. But that's this the second generation of these beds, and they'll be even better. And this bed is in this third generation, and this bed is much better because this was just crappy clay. Now look at it. Look at them greens growing. So the point is, second generation wood pile, third generation wood pile. That's much better, and it's working more efficiently. I learned something, and it's easy to use, and it's gonna make a better wood product. Second generation, first generation, total failure. So don't be afraid to try something out. You know, you're gonna learn from your mistakes. So just because you make a mistake and have a failure, don't mean that you know, you stop doing it. You can do it. Anybody can do almost anything. This is my first generation of chainsaw, and it's not working right now because it's a piece of shit. Poulan's a piece of shit. Poulan got brought by Husqvarna, and they stopped making these because they garbage. That's why they stopped making them. But I learned how to use a chainsaw. I learned how to work on a chainsaw. I'm not gonna waste a lot more time fixing this. I may later get it running, but I've already spent enough money on this that I could have brought. I learned that if I'd have spent the amount of money I spent fixing this, I could have brought a chainsaw of another $200 more than I paid for this one. And I've already spent more than that fixing it, and I would have a chainsaw that's still running, and it wouldn't give me so many problems. Like every time I pull this chainsaw out, I gotta fix it. That's some garbage right there. You know. This is my first generation wood chipper, and I'm fixing it. Well, this is a lesson that I already know, but I reneged on my lesson and let somebody use it, and they stuck something heavy in there or metal, and now I gotta fix it. So I'm finna order parts. Broke the blade. This rubbed up against the counterweight for the piston rubbed up against something in there. It didn't kill it. It ripped. This is like a bushing that holds the flywheel that cuts the wood, and it ripped the two bolts out of the oil pan. It's facing the oil pan on this. Ripped the two bolts out. So I gotta drill and tap and extract the bolts. Buy some new bolts, extract and retap the threads. Broke these bolts off in this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here go the blade it broke. It's blades that sit on this flywheel. They cut up the mulch. It snapped this blade. That was a blade just like this. It snapped these two bolts, shearing them, boink, off in here. This the face. This the oil pan face where this this the face that holds the drive shaft that holds the flywheel that cuts the wood. What it did is sheared the see them holes on this one? Got holes. And the bolts are broken off inside of there. So I gotta drill a hole in there, extract it, and this one I may have to retap it so it'll thread back in there. That's what these bolts right here broke off in there. And these bolts hold this. It's just a brace. It's just a brace, and I think this is like a fail-safe to take the shear effect for the flywheel. So it sheared them off from the impact of him putting metal or something heavy in the wood chipper. I think it had to be metal to do that. Nobody got hurt. That's the good thing. So, but that's my first generation wood chipper. It's just a homeowner's wood chipper. I'm gonna fix and keep using it, but next time I buy a wood chipper, I might get something a little heavier duty. You know what I mean? Because you limited what you can do. I'm not making piles like that. I'm making piles like a quarter that size, and they work all day to get it. Anyway, don't be afraid to try something. You know, don't be afraid to mess it up, especially if it's yours. Don't mess up somebody else's stuff, but don't be afraid to mess it up. You know, so you can learn. That's the only way. That's the best way to learn. That's not the best way to learn, but you'll never forget it. You'll appreciate that. You do this, you will appreciate this, and I appreciate that.